Hey guys, and welcome to an absolutely badass epic game between two of the new and old world's finest warriors. On the left hand side we have the fantastic YouTuber himself, Tactical Leech, bringing the Tomb King forces up against Phoenix Wing and his Empire hordes. Should be an awesome showdown. Now the reason I wanted to highlight this game today is big old stacking of debuffs. Now debuff stacking is certainly nothing new, but boy oh boy is this one super nasty. Of course, everyone knows what a debuff is. You apply, I don't know, negative melee attack to someone, but you can stack these debuffs time and time again to make some really disgusting and powerful combinations. It's actually something we used to see Falcon do a lot, where he would either debuff the enemy troops or buff his own ones and come in for these big, massive alpha strikes, and that is what Tactical Leech is going to be trying to do today. For the battle line, or for his infantry corps, I should say. I should do the infantry corps first rather than the lords and heroes, because it's not quite so exciting. We have skeleton warriors, okay? Cheap, cheerful, they're summoned to be here, and they're not going to do too much but hold the enemy at bay. We do have some more warriors in the central pocket here for a little bit more damage, backed up by the skeleton archers, as well as some tomb guards with halberds, including some more horsemen in the back as well. Well, carrying up in the skies to help support, and in the center of the skeleton archers is where we get our first debuff of the day. We have the Blessed Legion. Now, the Blessed Legion are the Regiment of Renown. Not too expensive by any means, but they do come in with that glorious minus 30 armor sundering, which lasts 10 seconds. Now, keep that negative 30 armor in your minds as we delve into the Hero and Lord core here, because it's about to get pretty damn crazy. We have a Leech Priest, of course, of Death, coming in with Spirit Leech, but not only Spirit Leech, also coming in with the glorious Soul Blight, which once again is another negative 30 armor. Also, they're reducing armor piercing weapon damage and base weapon damage. And then we have the Curse, which is an additional negative 60 armor. So we have the 230s plus a negative 60 here. We then come in with the Tomb Prince, who can do some really nice debuffs of his own. He does come in with Guardian, but also the Curse, negative melee attack by 24. We have the Tomb Strike to buff him, and then the Blade of Setep as well. Another negative 30 armor and 20% physical resistance. On top of this, we then have the Tomb King coming in. He has the Amulet of Pachar is what we're going to say. That pronunciation was perfect. Anyone in the comment section disagrees with me, you're absolutely wrong. We have negative 30 armor on him once more, plus negative 48 missile parry, and then Tomb Strike himself, Scorpion armor, and all that juicy good stuff. So a ridiculous amount of armor debuffs coming up against the Empire certainly isn't a bad idea whatsoever. But what do the Empire have in store for the Tomb Kings? Well, it is a bucket tons of state troops. We have Spearmen guarding the flanks, and then Swordsmen dotted all the way along the front line, the real bread and butter of any juicy Imperium build. We then have handgunners in the central pocket, including the Silver Bullets Regiment of Renown, some Spearmen in the back, as well as a Jade Wizard. Now, you almost always want to be bringing a Jade Wizard when Karl Franz is on the battlefield, and we do indeed have the dreaded Franz Meister himself. So we have Regrowth and Earthblood coming down on the Jade Wizard, and then a load of Reichsguard. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 units. It's really cool. We don't get to see Reichsguard terribly often. That added armor, though, can certainly help up against factions like the Tomb Kings, who do like to bring a bit of long-range missile pressure. We do have the mighty Karl Franz, as formerly said, up in the skies, looking absolutely regal and beautiful. Garmaraz in one hand, and his other hand kind of just floating in mid-air. Surely, kind of doing a fist at the enemy. Hey, I'm coming for you. He has Garmaraz as well as the Reichland Rune Fan, and that is going to be about it. So without further ado, let's see if this tactic can indeed pay off. Now, of course, there's a big problem with stacking all these debuffs, is if you stack it, for example, on a unit of knights, and then the knights run away, you've kind of blown your load all in one go, and that's kind of your big surprise, right, of this build, is we can also nuke an area. A lot of these are area effect spells as well, which is really useful, or items and abilities, and dropping an area effect can be super crucial. But if you mess it up, it could well cost you the battle, because you've kind of used your one-trick pony nice and early on there. Handgunners are starting to open up on the front line, just peppering down the skeleton warriors doing some decent damage, as the swordsmen are unfortunately having to weather the storm of arrows, raising those shields high and crying a war chant to Sigma, hoping that the mighty god will protect them. Unfortunately for them, I think their god may be a bit deaf today, as the undead legions do march upon them. We do have Reichsguard, though, going to start floating down in the flanks. Karl Franz will be engaging the carrion up in the skies, just trying to get them off the battlefield as quickly as possible. Lovely play here, though, coming in by the Tomb King player, actually grounding the Carrion nearby, where there are some Tomb Guard halberds, so hopefully they can come over and support it a little bit. But Karl Franz does look to be jumping down alongside his Reichsguard, who are lancing down Skeleton Warriors. A lovely flank overload on this left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, Reichsguard are doing a fantastic job up against the Horsemen, really carving them to pieces. We have more Horsemen starting to move over to this right-hand side, though, to try to jump on the guard. And you can see the handgunners have kind of moved a little bit too close to the battle line, with the Skeleton Archers really raining down some power now on them, which is certainly not where any handgunners want to be. And here we go, we have the Amulet as well as the Blade come down, as well as a Soul Stealer. Reichsguard, though, are going to rather wisely attempt to retreat. Unfortunately, these horsemen are relatively swift, as is the Tomb King, Tomb Prince, and the Leech Priest, and the Reichsguard do get dumpstered very, very, very quickly there. Though I don't think all the debuffs were necessarily needed with all the heroes nearby, it did certainly make the Reichsguard a rather soft and juicy target. So not bad use so far of the abilities. The Karen do dive down onto the silver bullets, looking to peck at their flesh and devour their eyes. Karl Franz is, though, helping himself in the back line to some Skeleton Archers. Plus, look at this, the Reichsguard are really ramrodding into the enemy back line, shutting down the Blessed Legion and shutting down more archers, though we are about to see the Ushopti summon. Franz and the Reichsguard need to get out of there. If they get pinned in between the Ushopti and the Tomb Guard, it is going to be a bad day indeed. Use your mobility and fall back, but it does look like the Ushopti have come into play. The Warriors are starting to push back the handgunners, which is really good play. Silver bullets have been beat back as well by Karen, and the rest of the front line, the Warriors and the Tomb Guard are actually holding relatively firm, so not looking fantastic for the Empire, but they still have a lot of Reichsguard bouncing around, as well as Karl Franz, who unfortunately is right now stuck amongst Tomb Guard and Ushopti. He needs to escape this really nice trap coming in by the forces of the Tomb Kings, and in comes the Tomb King and the Tomb Prince. They can certainly pack a relatively solid punch. Reichsguard not enjoying this whatsoever, desperately trying to fall back, but the Ushopti are using their mass to pin them in and decapitate those Empire Knights and drag them from their steeds into the dirt, where they shall water the ground with their blood. We do get a lovely Soul Blight coming in. We have Skeleton Archers and the Blessed Legion are kind of marching into combat. They are apparently firing now, trying to deliver even more negative armor to Master Franz right now, who is going to be receiving a bit of a lovely regrowth, and he certainly needs it. Ushopti will be going down here, though, and the Empire have started to stabilize the back line. Jade Wizard does look dangerously close to dying here, but he should be able to hold off the Warriors, at least you would think, and the Handgunners and Spearmen are starting to come back online, though there are Horsemen looking ready to reave through the Tomb King back line if they get the opportunity. Reichsguard are doing a fantastic job, though. You can see Skeleton Archers are being shut down, and wherever the hero core goes, that is where the cavalry is striking. Really lovely play here by the Empire. Reichsguard wanting to jump on the Blessed Legion, who are currently sundering their armor, and it is melting and eroding upon them, down to just the 90 armor there. Handgunners starting to be overwhelmed in the back, so the Empire player, rather wisely, is going to be falling back with Karl Franz and using the Spearmen to pin in the Horsemen, and that is going to be a dead unit of Horsemen unless they get out of here very quickly. Jade Wizard is just about going to be able to escape there, which is really good news. We need to see those regrowths come down and Earthbloods on Franz and the Knights if the Empire want a chance of success here. And unfortunately for the Silver Bullets, they managed to take down a few Horsemen, but they are about to be destroyed themselves, in fact shattering on the impact of that charge. There's a lot of Reichsguard left alive, though, and they can certainly protect the remaining handgunners and allow them to bring the pain to the hero core. Likewise, Karl Franz is basically full health for the Empire. Then Deathclaw just whips its wings around and smashes some of those skeletons into a fine paste. The archers are doing some really decent damage, though, raining shots down on the Reichsguard, who are currently going after that hero blob, and it looks like Franz has had enough. I don't want to be carrying it in the back lines anymore. I'm committing to this main fight, and he's going after that Tomb Prince, looking to assassinate the character, which is bringing Guardian to the battlefield. We do get an Overcast Soul Blight going down. The Blade has gone down as well. Guard Morales is trying to counterpunch. The Reichland Runefang goes down. The Amulet goes down. Look at these Reichsguard down to 30 armor. Karl Franz down to 10 armor is absolutely ridiculous, and Earthblood goes off, though. And the Tomb Prince does pop the Tomb Strike, but boy oh boy is he getting absolutely mulched in the middle. Knight clashing against Knight. Boneman trying to drag down the mighty Franz, who is ripping into their generals. The poor Tomb Prince getting destroyed here despite the debuffs placed down upon Franz, who now has a mighty 0 armor. Also losing some of that physical resistance is really quite nasty. However, the Tomb Prince is about to go down, but the Knights break ranks and flee. All all 3 units of Reichsguard are forced back, and the Tomb King drives hard after Karl Franz, sending him fleeing once more back up into the skies. Tomb Prince just about is able to stabilize. Now, Spearmen had started to push their way back into the Skeleton Archers, as well as the Blessed Legion. However, I don't think that's going to go too well for them, with the Tomb King forces jumping on top of them, and this is certainly starting to look like a really, really good position for the Tomb King forces, and it looks like the Empire player knows it and decides to gracefully bow out. I mean, he still had Franz left, who could have done some decent damage, but up against the Tomb King, as well as the Death Cast and all the archers and the halberds, it was starting to look pretty bleak, but maybe an early concede anyway. But despite that, a fantastic game by both these players. Very well played to Tactical Leech. Once again, here's a fantastic YouTuber. Should definitely go check out his stuff. There's a load of Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer goodness. And well played to Phoenix Wing as well. He dealt relatively well with all the stacking debuffs early get doors, with those Reichsguard. Just pull it out, just run away. It doesn't matter if your opponent debuffs you if you're not going to be fighting. But then in that big final confrontation, all of those debuffs stacked. I'm gonna have to go back and get like a screenshot of that and see the amount of that was going on in that one big blob fight. It was absolutely insane, and France did a really solid job trying to hold the line, but what can men do up against such reckless debuffs? Well played, Tactical Leech. That was a really good fun game, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it as well. I'm going to delve into the damage dealt and damage value of all of these units in just a second, but before we get there, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and make sure to comment down below what you thought of the battle. Bucket ton of links as well down below in the description to my Twitch, to my Patreon, to my Discord. Discord's the important one there because you can indeed submit replays via my Discord channel, so that is linked down below. Anyway, once again, well played to Tactical Leech and well played to the Phoenix Wing. That was a really good fun game with also some decent showcase in there of the mass debuffs you indeed can kind of accumulate over all these pesky items and lords and effects from Regiment of Renown. You really can stack some really nasty debuffs. 1,000 damage value on the Tomb King, 451 on the Priest of Death, which is pretty good, 811 value on the Tomb Prince. So certainly not too bad by the hero core, though the Tomb Prince did kind of get his skull caved in just a tiny bit by Galmaraz in the end, but he did survive, so I'm sure he'll be telling all of the other surviving Tomb Kings that he basically soloed France alone. The Tomb King did a really good job there, 1,000 value and basically still full HP. Now, the basic infantry didn't do too much, sadly. The warriors did a bit better in the mid-500s for the damage value range, and 68 and 93 kills. How did the halberds fare? Well, this unit was basically full health at the end of game, and still got 1,357 damage value, which is honestly insane. They were kind of surrounding France and those knights, and as the knights got debuffed, these guys just get more and more powerful, which is really nice, and you can see that only 38 kills with some lovely value. The other unit actually got less value, but way more kills, 105, but only 696 damage value. As for the archers, just shy of 1,000 damage value on one unit, 213 on the other, and the Blessed Legion, 1,645 damage value. Absolutely insane work there by the Regiment of Renown. 1.3k and 363 damage value on the Horsemen. You can certainly see which unit had a good day and which one had a bad one. 95 and 46 kills. Karen were just a pain in the butt. Not big damage value across the board, but just hunting down those handgunners and trying to keep them busy and occupied. As for the cav heavy build of Phoenix Wing, I absolutely love to see it. 1.2k on Karl Franz, unfortunately, is not enough to pay for himself, particularly on Deathclaw and all his buffs and so forth, but he led the line bravely and still at about half HP in the end game, so he certainly could have racked up maybe closer to 2,000 damage value before going down. Nice hills with the Jade Wizard as well, not expecting to get much value here, only the 13 kills, but really just popping those buffs onto Franz constantly to try to keep him going as long as physically possible. Spearmen and Swordsmen kind of in the mid to low hundreds for damage value. No insane kills across the board. The highlight being 82 kills and the highlight damage value as well, I think only being 513 damage value. Now for the handgunners, just shy of 600 value on one unit, 600 on the second, and 318 on the silver bullets is really tragic. We did see them get shut down very early on. Not many kills across the board for them. One thing I was very impressed with, though, by Phoenix Wing was his Reichsguard play. 626 damage value, 756, 842, and 479. So not the insane amount of value, but a lot of good backline pressure. And it certainly looked at the mid-game like maybe the Empire, once they start to rally their back line a little bit, were going to claw their way back into the game, and Franz committed to that big fight, but alas, the RNG gods were not with him, but likewise, neither were the buff gods. He was trying to buff them in around him, but there was so many debuffs, he must have felt like an old man in some rather heavy armor that he used to wear. Decent kills across the board for the Reiksguard, 47, 90, 39, and 31, but alas, it was not enough. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'm still a little bit ill, so I apologize. I know there's a load of mistakes, no doubt, through this one, but I've had a migraine now for about 4 days. It's really annoying, but it is making it a little bit tricky to cast, so you're going to have to bear with me a little bit on that one. I will be back to live streaming probably Thursday, Friday. That is when we're doing the Regiment of Renown live streams, and going a bit harder next week, as then after that I'll be taking about a week off as I travel home to, go back for Christmas and all that good stuff. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Until next time, peace, and as always, stay awesome.